Welcome to C4 News. This is non politically correct news. You won't just get one side of the news here. I don't have any affiliation with any Democrat or Republican. I am an independent voter. No one owns my mind or point of view. My aim is to not bring you just the news, but information that will enlighten you, spark thought. In other words, I want to make you think. Think about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Where you came from, where you are, and especially where you're going as a people and civilization. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. This is C4 News, and I'm C4, your host. This cast was originally brought to you on Independence Day, a fitting day for this cast. As you know, we're getting close to the presidential election. And now that we've seen the first debate, I have a few questions for you. If you see Trump as your enemy, then do you see Biden as your friend? And if Biden is your friend, then do you support his actions? If you believe in his actions, then do you approve of him continuing to arm Israel? Then if you approve of him continuing to arm Israel, then do you approve of the bombing of the Palestinian people? If you approve of the bombing of the Palestinian people, then do you believe in genocide? If you believe in genocide, then do you agree with the destruction and dismantling of Africa? If you believe in the dismantling of Africa, then do you love your brother? Trump is not my friend, but neither is Biden. The credit that I must give Trump is that he lets you know who he is up front. People like Biden, the Clintons, James Clyburn, Kamala Harris, they feed on your ignorance of the facts. You have been hoodwinked. Clyburn and Kamala Harris are just figures to represent the Uncle Tom mentality that Malcolm X warned us about years ago. Clyburn is in the club of the elite liberal union. He is supported by the finance and insurance industry. As a matter of fact, his largest donor is an accounting firm that has assisted England since the Industrial Revolution. I know you don't know much about the Industrial Revolution, but its backbone was textiles. And where did they get those textiles? The U.S. Well, how did the U.S. get the textiles? Slave labor. This is how the economic system that the world operates on was founded, on the backs of the free labor from slaves. Now, explain to us why we don't deserve a world finance stipend. There is always a chain. Every chain has links that connect one part to another, and so I'm not saying one person is dirty per se, but their hands are not clean. And I checked under the fingernails. According to a CBS News research story, Kamala Harris' Office of Attorney General did block advanced DNA testing for a case in California. Only after a publication was released on the subject did she recant and support the advanced testing. Her office did fight the allowance of prisoners who were nonviolent from receiving the 2-for-1 credit for assisting in the firefighting when California had the wildfires. Her office fought to deny those who perform less dangerous jobs from receiving the 2-for-1 credit. This was done in an effort to force prisoners to be in harm's way in order to receive such credit. Only after the LA Times reported on the issue Did she claim to be shocked? Yes, her Attorney General's office did fight to keep the cash bail system, which we all know is a very prejudicial system that is based on a person's means, not their rights. Once again, only after the case became news did she take an opposition to the system. Clyburn sold us out as well and put us under the bus by supporting Hillary Clinton for president. The same person under Obama's presidency okayed the assassination of Muammar Gaddafi, the leader of Africa. According to an article, Hillary chuckled at the idea of Gaddafi's assassination. Did you know that she was in Tripoli earlier that week and met with the Libya's Transitional Council, those who backstabbed Gaddafi? I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to hear just a part of that conversation. But I only mention this because Gaddafi may not have been a perfect person, but he took care of his people and Africa. He wanted Africa to have its own currency. So in turn, she killed the king of Africa. So what are you supporting? Once again, I cannot stand Trump, nor his fans. I believe that every plantation should be burned to the ground in a ceremony on Juneteenth. I support Cornel West for president, but I want you to think about who you are supporting, because there's always a chain that connects who you support from either major party to actions that are not in the best interest of humanity. Did you know that the founder of Planned Parenthood believed in selective breeding? She believed that women had the right to choose, but the women that she focused on was the black woman. Her clinics were predominantly in areas of color. Karen Seltzer, then chair of the PPGNY's board, said that the removal of her name is necessary and overdue because of the reproductive harm done historically to communities of color. Merle McGee, the chief equity and engagement officer for the PPGNY, said that the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, championed birth control and she was a racist. Think about it. A racist started Planned Parenthood and put it right where blacks had immediate access, not in the white area. She wanted us to breed out. This is another point that I want to make that is not politically correct. The Black Revolution was ripped apart by force and not by chance. Now check out some of this information I have for you. It's going to be kind of hard to absorb, but take it in small chunks if you got to. For all the credit that the women's liberation movement has, its creation destroyed not only the Black Revolution, but the Black family as well. Check this out. Remember that the movement gained momentum in the late 1960s. Now, what is significant about this era in time? Malcolm X was assassinated in 1965. Martin Luther King was assassinated in 1968. At the same time, who was the director of the FBI? Take your time. I'm listening. What'd you say? You guessed it. J. Edgar Hoover, who according to a Stanford article, not only saw Dr. King as a threat, but a communist who he and Robert Kennedy authorized to be wiretapped at not only his home, but at the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. The FBI even sent an anonymous letter that was supposed to have encouraged Dr. King to commit suicide. What was in this letter? According to an article from the Berkeley Library, there is a memo from the FBI that states that their purpose was to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, and otherwise neutralize the radical fight for black rights and black power. Hoover even hid the fact that there were witnesses to Malcolm's assassination that were FBI agents. Now I ask you, how do you kill a snake? You cut the head off the snake. If the government wanted to kill the black movement, they would have to kill your leadership first. And after that, the rest of their plan comes into play. That's when you disrupt and misdirect the masses. And what's the best way to do that? Without a home, there is no family. If there is no family, there is no leader. They cut us in two. If you can separate the wife from the husband, then he has no base. She is his backbone of whatever he does. She is his encouragement. She is his counselor. She is his shoulder to cry on, and she is his conscience. According to the University of Chicago, the marriage rate in 1950 was 64% for black women over 15, which at the time was in par with the white population. By 1960, that 64% dropped to 61% for black women, and by 1995, that 64% from 1950 and 1995 dropped to 38%. According to the Census.gov site, in 1970, 35.6% of black men and 27.7% of black women were never married. But by 2020, these percentages had jumped to 51.4% for black men and 47.5% for black women. This means that almost half of the black population never gets married now. Marble law states that 38.9% of black women have ever been divorced, while 35.6% of white women have ever been divorced. 27.3% of Hispanic women or Latino women have ever been divorced, and 13.9% of Asian women have ever been divorced. Now, this is divorced 1 time, 3 times, 5 times, but at least divorced once. Once again, we're at the top of the list of shame. Now, according to divorce.com, the black divorce rate is the highest amongst all races at 30.8%. The next highest divorce rate is the Hispanic, and that divorce rate is 18.5%. Now, I don't know who's good at math, but that's over a 10% jump between Hispanics and blacks. 12.3 to be exact. Now check out the rest of these numbers and see how they all draw in. The white divorce rate makes almost half of the black divorce rate at 15.1%. And the Asian divorce rate is the lowest amongst all major races at 12.4%. So, 18.5 for Hispanic, 15.1 for white, and 12.4 for Asian. You see how close their numbers are together? 18.5, 15.1, 12.4. Their numbers are pretty clustered together. Our number is 30.8. According to the National Institute of Health, blacks get married at the smallest clip and get divorced at almost twice the clip of the next highest race. The next closest race, I should say. Now you tell me what's up. This does not take into account interracial marriage, nor does it take into account the percentage of homosexuality amongst races. I'll do that type of research later. Stay tuned. The point is that we're not only ignorant of our political situation, but we are being misled and neutralized as a race. Are there any answers? Stay tuned. In my future cast, I'm going to break down more information and give us some keys that may be able to help. But understanding these solutions will not be easy. These solutions are as difficult as the problem. Thank you for joining me for C4 News and Politics. Till next time, keep your ear to the ground while looking up. Peace.